Hi, everyone. Almost Shabbat Shalom.
Hi, Debbie.
Hi, Barry.
Hi, everyone.
We are watching Nala right across from us. She's literally watching the Shabbos show. And just so that you know, she's in a cone. She's healing from a little bit of surgery. And so she's like this with giant cones. She's kind of an outer space doggy now. So anyway, we've got a lot of interesting things for you this transition towards Shabbat, and so I guess we better get started. No better place to start than with you and your Torah portion.
Well, Debbie, do you know what the Torah portion is this week?
Today? No.
Well, this week's Torah portion is Shalach. Now, Shalach is a fun. It's sad, it's awful, but it also reminds you of your questions that most of you always ask. Why in the world did the Israelites have to wander for 40 years? They're just across the way. They're so close. Well, what happened was...
Wait, I thought it just took them that long to get there, from here to there.
Well, actually, they wandered. They wandered in the wilderness. But thank you. That's what a lot of people think. But what happens is God instructed Moses to send out 12 spies or scouts, like Pony Express. These guys went across into the promised land, and they came back, and 40 days later, that's important, 40 days later, they came back, and 10 of them reported that it was indeed the land of milk and honey. However, honey...
It wasn't the land of milk and honey?
No, it was the land of milk and honey. However, honey, there was also fortified cities, and these people are huge. Big, large, and the Israelites viewed themselves as grasshoppers and figured that they were looked at as grasshoppers, and they would come and slaughter them. And
wait, who is the grasshoppers?
The Israelites thought they were grasshoppers. They were so small.
And what would these other people be?
Compared to these giant people.
In their fortified city.
In the fortified city. So, what happened was, God gets before God, the Israelites get all upset. And they hear these stories saying, oh my gosh, we have to go. We fear that we're going to die in the wilderness. This is going to be terrible. Moses, please take us back to Egypt.
After all this.
God comes in the picture and says, how in the world can you be so upset? How can you not believe in me, have no faith? And he sentences them to go through an entire 40 years, 1 year for every day that took for those spies to go in to the promised land and come back. And they said that to make certain that one generation will get through. And they would forget about what they were thinking about as slaves in Egypt. But I've only mentioned 2 of those. There were 2 other spies. And those guys' names are Caleb and Joshua.
Right.
And they said, yes, indeed, it was great. It was wonderful. It was terrific, land of milk and honey. But we can take these guys because we have God on our side, and we're going to be brave, and we're going to be fearless because we have the Lord with us. And they allowed those 2 families, to do okay and live and prosper. And the other Israelites came. So basically what happens in this Torah portion is that they were imbued with what's called a different kind of spirit. They were imbued with Ruach Akeret. Made them feel like this is something that made them feel special, to say, speak out against someone else. Speak out against injustice. Speak out when everyone else is saying, heck no, I'm not going to do it. And as it turns out, the result is that we're taught that sometimes when we see injustice, and sometimes when we see evil or something wrong, someone has to speak up and change their mind, and someone has to break ranks to get the thing going. And we've seen that throughout history, and these 2 fellas, Caleb and Joshua, did it. And of course, Joshua, has took over Moses later on. So, breaking ranks, you've seen that lately, and the Supreme Court changes. It wasn't. It was like, wow, that guy changed his vote? Amazing. So, what do you think about breaking anything? Anything going on?
Well, what we're doing today has a symmetry all on its own. Really not planned that way. I'm kind of thinking one thing because the transition for Shabbos to me is personal, and I'm thinking, how am I going to get there? And Barry's over here thinking it's personal for me. How am I going to get there? I'm going to find it right here in the Torah portion. And everyone comes to Shabbat in their own way. But I've loved this time with you and with you because we seem to be a little bit more prepared when the sun goes down. So I wanted to read something special, and then I'm going to take an action, a ritual, which is really very different. So hold on to your horses, as they say. Here's my glasses. Reading out of a fabulous, fabulous book. And this book is The Hebrew Priestess. It's by Rabbi Jill Hammer, and it's also by Taya Sher, and it's a wonderful, wonderful book. But I'm just reading you a smidge so that you get the idea of this ritual that I want to take us through, this big thing. This is about embracing change by shattering. And just kind of like what Barry said, that person who says, we can't have this. You have to push the envelope. You have to move energy to make something happen. That's what we're going to participate in together today. Okay, so I want you to start thinking about pandemic and quarantine and what you've been through. Chronicle change. Take stock of big changes you have experienced over the course of your quarantine. Now you can tell I've changed some words here because it has said over the course of your life, but I really want you to think about quarantine. Choose a few changes to chronicle, giving attention to how you approached them before, during, and after they occurred. What was lost in these changes? What gifts did these changes bring? Notice your typical patterns around quarantine. What are your knee-jerk reactions? Do you resist? Do you waver? Do you jump in? What emotions emerge for you in moments of change? Fear and anxiety, excitement, anger? Do you tend to integrate change slowly over time? Or do you prefer to move more quickly in moments of transition? Here's a big one. You ready? In what ways have you taken care of yourself during times of change? What has been missing from your self-care? And I hope everybody pauses to answer that question for themselves. What do your body, heart, mind, and spirit need to integrate change? How can you apply this wisdom to current changes in your life? Now this part is called Meet Change. Get clear about what isn't working in your life right now. So I'm talking about present. I'm not talking about thinking about a lot in the past or what may go wrong. I'm thinking about right now so that you can focus in on it and let it talk to you and call to you. This may be a friendship, a pattern, or a commitment. Be honest about what needs to shift. Reflect on it. Invoke support around it. Communicate it. It can be scary to say no to things or to choose endings. Shift your focus away from what you're saying no to. Become aware of what you are saying yes to through that same choice. The more you move forward and celebrate your yeses, the more easily things that are a no will fall away. Now, this next few sentences, think about this. Be willing to know nothing. This is not our culture, right? Discern what is needed and open to new possibilities by stepping out of habit. Go somewhere or to a kind of place you have never been before with no expectations. See what calls to you or shows up to teach you. Listen with a different kind of ear. Let it be possible that the way you have always made decisions or done things no longer fits. What would a totally new way of choosing or acting look like for you? Try this. And so we're going to try something together. You ready? Break something. When something shatters, energy is freed up and can reconfigure. Break something on purpose. Choose an old wine glass or a thin ceramic dish that you no longer need. Smash it against the wall or place it on the floor and stomp on it while wearing shoes. Consider shattering something while holding an intention around an issue or a situation you want to release. You can choose to break something simply because you are in a stuck place and need to free up energy, even if you are not cognizant of the content of what is needed to shift. In the novel Broken for You by Stephanie Callis, the main characters intentionally shatter antique ware as a practice of healing and transforming old wounds. As each piece is thrown against the floor, the broken vessels become small tiles that are then brought together to make new creations. Whether we want to or not, we all experience breaking points throughout our lives. Cultivating a relationship with change and practicing the art of shattering well is a skill that serves us in many contexts. May we learn to surrender. And what I want to invoke around shattering something today is that change is coming. And I can feel it, and I think we all can feel it. We've had some wonderful legislation, my opinion, around LGBTQ, around the dreamers, and quarantine has made us sit still and listen to everything, really deeply reflect. But there are places that we are all stuck. And I noticed that during my quarantine, and I don't know if you feel this way, what I have rushed to do is put habit all around it. So I'm like, in the mornings, I do my wash, and then I do this, and then I do that. And you know, it's different because it's in quarantine. Like I used to go out for dinner, like every night, you know. So that's not happening. But what did I rush to do? I rushed to get habitual. And there's not a lot of growth in that. And I recognize that. So in this time, recently, during this quarantine, I bought these really cool wine glasses.
May I speak up a second?
Oh, yes.
These are gorgeous. These are my favorite glasses. I believe, it's my favorite wine glasses ever. And I just can't wait to live many years with these wine glasses because I find them special. Go ahead, Debbie. What were you about to say?
So they're so sweet. I'll show you up close. See, they have fish on them. They're so sweet. So I'm such a rule follower. You may not think that about me, but I'm a terrific rule follower. I haven't had an accident since I was 16 years old or a traffic ticket. I'm very much a rule follower, but I want to shatter. I want to shift energy. And I want to ask you this question before I do, because this is the energy I'm going to invoke around this ritual. What if you could go back exactly as things were before the pandemic? Would you live your life exactly the same way now that we've turned every single thing upside down? Do you want the same thing you had just, when you had it? Or have we grown a bit, even maybe some painful change, but nevertheless, little bit of growth, right? All right, I don't want to go back the way I am. I want to move forward. I want to grow. I want to not be habitual. I want to look to new things. And so that's the intention I'm putting around shattering another possession, because I can also get kind of hoardy right here. So I'm putting it down.
Wait.
Yeah, but they can't
on?
see it too good, but hopefully it's going to work out. You can't see it really good, unless maybe Barry goes like this, just a bit. And I want you to know I'm a little scared to do it.
And it's super sad.
Well, possession, right? Just a possession.
Don't forget, it's just a possession.
It's just a possession, but I am covering it with cloth because I don't want anyone to get hurt. I would never want that. Some people are braver. They're going to just throw it to the ground or something. But it is interesting that Italians, throw plates and that Jews step on the glass. So I've never done this, and it feels like I'm just, But, okay, you ready? Yeah. I hope it works. We can't see it too
It's
good.
a John Lennon moment.
Well, you might not see much, but should I hold it here and then do it?
I held in my glass and drink out of it.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Close your eyes, okay?
Okay.
Do you have your intention, everybody?
Here we go.
Because we're doing this together.
I think you got it.
There we go. We did it. Poof! New energy on its way. When things shatter and move, more things can come in. When we stop doing things the way that we always did them, poof, new energy, new life, new everything. You know, when I vacuum my house, now you're going to go, she is so weird. Everything feels different afterwards, the loud noise and all of that. This was pretty special too. Uh-oh, fixing it? So, that was our ritual today, breaking something, shattering something, so that we can make room for new and more and different and better.
Debbie, that was pretty. That was quite a moment.
It's quite a moment. Do you want to see the holla?
Yeah. What about the holla?
It's slow to rise. I don't know what the problem
My
is.
one job is to mention the holla. I forgot again. And I even tied a string around my wrist, but I took it off and I forgot to put it back on.
It's working. You know, last week it was the rainbow holla, and so many of you sent me pictures of yours too. Okay.
It seems like a nice tradition to have this regular kind of holla.
Well, we'll have to use another wine glass for our kiddish cup this evening.
It's just a tradition too.
If you join me in this ritual of breaking something and making energy and forward movement, will you share it with me? Text me, email me, or post a picture of it here. And I'm so happy to see so many of my friends that I love so much. I see Mark, Melissa, Janet, Elise, and Lori right there. So, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Did we forget anything?
Yes. Shabbat Shalom, Debbie.
Shabbat Shalom. Did you hear that, Paul?